An NBA championship ring is priceless. At least you think it is. But some NBA players actually decided to put their rings up for auction, whether it be for charity or because they blew through their NBA earnings and really need the money. With some of these rings being worth 6 figures, you won't believe which NBA player made millions auctioning off his rings. With the Raptors producing the most expensive ring the NBA has ever seen when it comes to the material that it was produced with, Kyle Lowry, believe it or not, actually helped design it. What makes last year's championship ring so special is that typically sports rings are hidden away from his players until after the big win. But Toronto point guard Kyle Lowry had quite a bit of say of how the ring was going to be made, with the blessing of team ownership. And it's very apparent that Canada wanted to go all out for his first NBA ring. The ring is a 1.25 carat golf ball of a diamond plastered on the face of the ring, the biggest diamond on any championship ring. And if that wasn't enough, the ring also has the most individual diamonds, sporting 650 individual smaller diamonds, also the most of any championship ring. Of those 650 diamonds, 74 are seen on the face of the ring to represent all the team's wins throughout the season and playoffs. The indentation on the side of the ring gives space for all 16 players' jersey numbers to be displayed. And next to each number is a ruby that represents Canada. And while most of the sports championships rings have the team logo on the face, Kyle wanted the country's first ring to represent the city. So instead of the Raptor logo, we see the Toronto skyline. It's pretty impressive just how much attention to details on the ring. Every small design has a meaning behind it, and that's all thanks to Kyle Lowry. Kyle even talked about his creation saying, "This is not a ring that you wear every day. This is a statement piece. You don't wear it every day. You put it up, you wear it once in a while. So I wanted the size to be as big as every other ring out there. Just because we wanted to show off the detail. It's a very spectacular ring. It's something that you earn. It took a long time to get. Unless you're Patrick McCaw. He has 3 now. So we just wanted our ring to be better than his other 2. Now a fan looking to get his hand on a specially fit ring can expect to spend around $10,000. Although you can get a significantly less blinged out one for around $400. With Antoine Walker winning a ring with the Heat back in 2006, unfortunate events led to Antoine selling his ring to be able to live. Antoine Walker is a forgotten Celtics star. Back in his heyday at TD Garden, Walker was averaging 20 points and 9 rebounds per game for the better part of his 8-season career with Boston. By his final 3 seasons, Antoine was traded to the Miami Heat during the 2005-2006 season, adding to the already beefed Heat roster that had Shaq, Wade, and Gary Payton. Following his success, Antoine fell into a long string of legal trouble starting in 2009, with a DUI in South Beach. And later that same year, Antoine was charged with 3 felony counts of writing bad checks to try to pay off over $800,000 worth of gambling debt. And by 2010, Antoine filed for bankruptcy after being $12.7 million in debt with only $4 million in his bank account. This would prompt an auction for his memorabilia that included his only championship ring with the Miami Heat, and the ring ended up selling for $21,500. Fellow teammate Dwayne Wade was disappointed after hearing the ring was sold. He had this to say, "I think it's worth more than that. Personally, I know how hard we work for that ring and how much it means to all of us. It's very unfortunate, but Walker has to do what he has to do for his family. I know how much that ring means to him, and I know I already work for that. It's really unfortunate that he's in that situation, but at the same time, you gotta do what you gotta do to get back to where you can. Hopefully everything he's doing, he's able to recoup and get his way back." The only positive is that Antoine's story could hopefully be a wake-up call for future and current NBA players so they don't fall into the same hole that he did. With the 1962 Celtics ring being one of the most prized rings in NBA history due to who owned it, it was sold for a huge amount a few years back. Back during the Celtics dynasty days, when the team's reign over the league was a borderline monopoly, there was one coach that easily had just as much of an impact as their team's biggest star. That was NBA legend Red Auerbach. The legend earned 9 NBA championship rings as a coach of the Celtics from 1950 to 1966, and is widely considered the greatest coach the league has ever seen. With that being said, after Auerbach's passing in 2006, much of his valuable memorabilia from his 56-year career at the Celtics was put on auction. And one of the valuables that were put on auction was his 1962 championship ring with the Celtics that he had specifically tailored for his wife Dorothy. Inscribed on the inside of the ring is A. Auerbach. The ring itself holds very little value with, what's produced today. However, its history, along with who wore the ring, is what gives it its value. The ring is made up of 10 karat gold, along with a diamond that is precisely placed in the center of his face, and on his sides is the Celtics symbolic shamrock, accompanied with the year the championship was won in 1962. Now, despite being worn for decades, the ring had very little wear, and it was eventually sold in 2011 for $78,000. With Metta World Peace being involved in a lot of controversy during his younger years in the NBA, he actually had a change of heart, and he sold his championship rings to donate the proceeds. Following his championship run with the Lakers in 2010, Ron was looking to reinvent himself and make an attempt to separate himself from the loose cannon image that he'd been known for in the past. And he did so with much success after meeting a therapist. His meetings and therapy were so helpful, in fact, that after his championship win, Ron shouted out his therapist, thanking her for helping him manage his emotions. And just a few months after his big win, Ron surprisingly announced that he'd be selling his ring and donating the proceeds to give kids better access to mental health facilities, saying, "But I think it'd be more important to get back to something I believe in, which is providing kids with someone to talk to, because it's so expensive. I pay for the parent counseling, marriage counseling, and anger management, and it's very expensive. This will be for children of all demographics, rich or poor. Preferably the rich could pay for their own psychologist, but it'll be a great way to help kids who don't know where they're going in life at this point. And Ron had mentioned early on that he'd already been approached by various investors and celebrities who offered anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. But in an effort to allow his fans to have a chance at the ring, Ron made it the raffle auction with tickets ranging from $1 to $3. The fans are gonna totally smash that number. We're gonna help as much as that ring could do. I don't know how long it'll last, but I know it can help. You don't really need the money. It starts in the household anyway. It starts with the dad and the mom and the family. Make sure the family is tight. As long as that's good, I don't think you'll even need to see a psychologist, or keep it at a minimum. But nobody's perfect. Every family is not perfect. This is just a way I can help out, give back a little bit. The raffle auction for the ring generated over $120,000. And with the money from the ring, Ron donated $65,000 of it to Long Island Steinway Child and Family Services and $55,000 to the Child Center of New York. The auction was his first step in becoming the person he always wanted to be, but couldn't because he had no one to talk to. And now he's doing his best to make sure children from his hometown of New York don't have to bottle up their emotions like he did. With Kobe Bryant winning 5 rings with the Lakers during his legendary career, he filed a lawsuit against his mom who tried to sell one. Kobe Bryant was an instant success after coming into the league in 1996. It only took 4 seasons before he'd win his first championship in 2000 with the help of Shaq on the Lakers. Fast forward 13 years, and in 2013, the rings that he gave to his mother and father after winning were being placed on auction in support of a charity named the Bully Project. At the time, the rings were valued around $10,000, but of course being the parents of an NBA legend meant they were going to sell for a whole lot more. There was a bit of family drama at the time of the sales. Bryant's mother had apparently set the rings for auction along with some other memorabilia without their son's permission. And as a result, Bryant filed a lawsuit on the auction company on the grounds that they were not hers to sell. The dispute was settled, however, when it was agreed that 50% of the proceeds would go to the Bully Project. Many items were taken out, but the rings were still up for grabs. Following the settlement, Kobe's parents have released a statement saying, "We regret our actions and statements related to the Kobe Bryant auction memorabilia. We apologize for any misunderstanding and unintended pain we caused our son and appreciate the financial support he's provided over the years. We also apologize to Golden Auctions for their inadvertent involvement in this matter and thank them for their assistance." That's gotta be an awkward moment when you have to file a lawsuit over a gift given to your parents. The 2000 Lakers championship ring is a priceless gem in its own right. That's 14 karat gold as the ring's main foundation, with over 2 carats worth of diamonds. It even has a running inside joke started by Shaq on the ring. Its bottom has the words bling bling, which is what Shaq told his teammates the diamonds would sound like during the regular season. The rest of the ring has various subtle messages to the team's success. Everything from the team's famous triangle offense to the team's record during the season can be seen on the ring. And after a month-long auction, Bryant's father's ring sold for over $176,000, while his mother sold for upwards of $109,000. And it'd be the only ring that Bryant ever gave his father. And seeing that his dad was the same ring size as Kobe, the ring was able to sell for a bit more than his mother's. The rings were ultimately purchased by a private collector, or aka a tremendously wealthy Lakers fan. But Kareem AbdulJabbar being arguably one of the best players to ever step on the hardwood, his multiple championship rings are just as legendary as he is. Kareem AbdulJabbar was a menacing 7'2" when he joined the NBA in 1969, and after a 6-season run with the Bucks, Kareem decided to take his talents to the Lakers in 1975. He continued to be a dangerous scorer and rebounder, but without a talented point guard behind him, Kareem stayed without a ring until Magic Johnson came around in 1979. By 1980, the Lakers had their big three. Kareem is the team's big man to center, Magic is the team's brilliant point guard, and Spencer Hayward is the team's power forward. The Lakers went on to win 5 championships throughout the 1980s, and most recently in 2019, Kareem decided to put up 234 of his personal items for auction. Included in the 234 items was 4 of his 6 NBA championship rings, and 100% of the proceeds made from the auction would go to his Skyhook Foundation, a charity that gives kids in poor communities access to better education opportunities. When the great was asked why he was selling his memorabilia, he answered, "My sports memorabilia has a history, my life. And oddly, since my life is still happening and ever evolving, I'm less personally attached to those items than I am to my desire to create new history for myself and future for others. Much of the proceeds from my auction will go to support my charity, the Skyhook Foundation, whose mission is to give kids a shot that can't be blocked. So when it comes to choosing between storing a championship ring or trophy in a room or providing kids with an opportunity to change their lives, the choice is pretty simple. Sell it all." Looking back on what I've done with my life, instead of gazing at the sparkle of jewels or gold plating, celebrating something that I did a long time ago, I'd rather look into the delighted face of a child holding their first caterpillar and think about what I might be doing for their future. That's a history that has no price. The 4 championship rings included were from his time with the Lakers, when the team won in 80, 85, 87, and 88. His championships from 82 and 71 with the Bucks probably had too much sentimental value for him to sell. Each ring sold for over $245,000, the most expensive of which was his 1987 championship ring, which sold for $390,000. With Dr. J being known as one of the pioneers of the game, he ran into some trouble that forced him to sell one of his championship rings. Irving joined the ABA in 1972 and quickly became the league's best player. During a short 5-season year with the ABA, Irving managed to pick up 2 championships. And by the time the ABA merged with the NBA in 1976, Irving joined the ranks of the 76ers, where he'd pick up an additional championship in 1983. Irving's career in both the ABA and the NBA made him worth millions of dollars. However, by 2011, he was sued by a Georgia bank for failing to repay a loan of $1 million that he used to buy a golf course. Facing a $200,000 lawsuit, Irving decided to auction off over 100 different pieces of basketball memorabilia that included his 2 ABA rings and his only NBA championship ring with the 76ers. And although he claims his auctioning had nothing to do with the debt or the lawsuit, we can't help but wonder why these 2 events happened so close to one another. And when asked about his lawsuit that had been made public just hours after he announced the auction, Irving responded, "That irony actually gave me a sleepless night last night. I had to laugh at it and cringe at it that these stories would run concurrent with one another. My family is 100% behind it. We decided to do it a long time ago. To claim it's a fire sale, to clear up some debt? I don't think so. You don't do an auction overnight. This has been long planned. We had 4,000 catalogs that have been mailed to people already who buy this kind of stuff. And all was fine at the end of the day, as the auction was a financial success, and he was able to produce more than $3.5 million. As for his rings, his 76ers ring sold for $244,000, and one of his ABA rings with New Jersey sold for over $460,000. And yo, dog, I need you to click on this video on the screen, bro, or we're gonna have serious problems, okay? I'm gonna pull up at the Taco Bell, square up. I'm just keeping it real. Keeping it at 3,000, bro. Okay, that's a little ridiculous, I'm sorry. Just click on the video, okay? Please.